our nation's colors and those of our veteran service organizations. As we march on the colors, the United States Marine Band will play the National Emblem March. Please place your hand over your heart or render a hand salute. Then remain standing for the prayer for all veterans, delivered by Chaplain Michael McCoy. Forward, march.
Good. Very good. Very good indeed. Okay, let me just introduce it here. I'm talking with Jerry-Pippin, a veteran of the Vietnam War, on Veterans Day. Jerry, what does it mean to you and other veterans, etc.?
Well, the Veterans Day is, obviously a day of reflection, and a lot of people paid a lot of real dues. In other words, they're not here anymore, except in the cemetery someplace. So I think sometimes we don't think about veterans as much as we should, probably, in a certain light that we should frame them. And what I'm talking about that is that VA Veterans Day and the VA today had some ceremonies around here. I had to go to dialysis, of course, and I'm here at the medical center tonight, and things are not going well for me, pain-wise, and generally all around. So as I continue to try to recover from a couple of operations, and one was colon cancer, and we did get rid of that, thank God. But the point is that I had plenty of time to reflect about Veterans Day and what it meant to be a vet. And there are a lot of things that have changed since the 60s, and that is that there's more respect for the troops these days out there, it appears to me. And that's about my only reflection I have, Boston Red.
Well, I'd agree with you on that, Jerry. If you could just briefly tell the audience about the duty you had was kind of unique. You were literally the man that took the bodies home. Yeah.
What happens is they would fly them in to the Air Force Base there just above San Francisco, and then they'd either would put them on a train or fly, and we'd arrange for their military funerals and explain all of the benefits that they're due from the Army, and tell them a little bit about how it happened. And it quickly became apparent to me that we really don't need to be fighting these wars most of the time. And so I became anti-war in many ways, not belligerent-wise, but I just think there's a better way to do it. And we had a detachment, and we would take turns taking people, or we'd see who would let us go where. And most of my trips back in the 60s were on a train, but we got to travel first class, and so it was just a duty that you had to have.
Yeah, and I guess so. I wonder today, do they still even do that anymore? Of course, they all go by plane. They go to Dover, Delaware, by air to Dover, Delaware, and then I suppose they distribute them to wherever they take them.
I really don't know, but I think probably the Army's pretty, they're interested in tradition.
Okay.
And that's been a tradition for a long time.
Well, I assume they still do that. It is different now for veterans, and I kind of wonder about that sometime, that they are, to a point, given more respect. Of course, when you came out, people were literally throwing bottles at you if you were in uniform. I remember that.
Yeah. I would guess I was lucky. I never, ever got anybody to be rude to me or throw a bottle or anything, but it did happen, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you were a little bit earlier. As it got later, it got worse. That thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was a long drought. The benefits were there, but there was a long drought of all these parades and memorials and etc. But my thinking is now with the veterans, you'd be one of the younger ones, and some few my age. But basically, the Vietnam era veterans are dying off, and as they die off, there will not be that many veterans left. The World War II ones are just about all gone. Bob Dole, a few of them are holding on, but it's just a different kind of situation. The Republicans want to privatize the VA right now if they could do it, and they would, and cut down on the service and etc. It's a sad situation, but it's one of those things that veterans are respected, but at the same time they are also not a big priority. They thank people for their service. Well, of course, in your day and time, the service was required. There was a draft going on, and you went to Canada, or you got a deferment, or you had rich parents, whatever your situation was. Whereas now people sign up. Many of them, though, have it on the economic duress. It's the only job available for them, and of course now they're laying off. So it's a situation. Anyway, I'll let you get the last couple of minutes here, and then we'll go on to Vice President Biden. He was at, I believe, Arlington Cemetery today. Okay,
and I'm going to have to leave the show. I'm having a little bit of pain problems here, so.
Okay,
I'll talk to you later, Foster Brand.
Okay, very good, Jerry. We'll go on to Vice President Biden. Appreciate you. Bye-bye. I was talking to jerry-pippin. He's out in Oklahoma, and he's recuperating from various physical situations. One of the many things that happens to our veterans. We'll go now to Vice President Biden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much. And in the short time you've been in your position, people are beginning to see significant changes. You believe, as I do, that we only have one truly sacred obligation. As a nation, we have a lot of obligations to the young, to the old, to all the poor. But there's no obligation that is truly sacred other than the commitment to our veterans. And you carry that with you from your days at West Point to today, and we appreciate it. To all the distinguished guests here, let me say, particularly to the Gold Star families, to say how much I appreciate the opportunity, the privilege of being able to speak here today. It's one of the great privileges a president or vice president has, to be able to literally speak on this sacred ground. It's the second occasion I've had in my tenure as vice president. It's a beautiful, beautiful autumn day. The sun is shining, the skies are clear, the temperature is perfect. Nothing like the scorching heat, the bitter cold, and intense storms that confronted many of you here today and our troops through every conflict in every age. Today's sunshine is nothing like the scorching heat our veterans endured while battling across the sun-baked coral islands in the Pacific, and in some cases, going days without water. Nothing like the hardships faced by a generation of Americans who waded through the rice paddies of the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. Nothing compared to the 115-degree heat in Fallujah as a young warrior climbed to an MRAP to show me how it had saved his life. Nothing compared to what our young men fought through in 25-degree below zero temperatures in North Korean mountains, pinned down by heavy enemy fire on the frozen ground 60 years ago. And nothing compared to the snow and cold that hampered our forces in the Ardennes forest 66 years ago. One of my favorite lines is from a poem, a book by John Steinbeck, East of Eden, where Cyrus Trask describes to his son Adam what it means to be a soldier. And here's what it says. He says to his son, "A soldier is the most holy of all humans because he is the most tested. A soldier must coldly learn to put himself in the way of losing his own life without going mad. If you can bring yourself to face not shadows but real death, described and recognizable by bullet or saber, arrow or lance, then you need never be afraid again." You are, the veterans of America, the most trusted among us and the most tested of all Americans. Collectively, you represent generations of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen who have served and sacrificed for all of us. You are not only the heart and soul, but you are the very spine of this nation. And as a nation, we pause today to thank more than 23 million surviving veterans who have so bravely and faithfully protected our freedom. You gave and they gave, and you deserve our thanks. We stand here today committed to show our respect, to honor, and to recognize our responsibility to care for all our veterans and for those who continue in harm's way as I speak to you today. Since 9/11, 3.5 million women and men have joined the military with the near certainty of knowing that they would be deployed. And they have. Over 2.6 million of this generation have been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Some of you have been deployed multiple times to both places. And more than half of you have returned to civilian life with the honored title of veteran. The 9/11 generation took on a responsibility that extended far beyond base or battlefield. They were prepared to follow Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell, and they did. And they continue as committed. Never before has America asked so much over such a sustained period of an all-volunteer force. And like so many generations before them, this generation of 9/11 warriors has paid an incredible price. Every day for the past 6 years,